For generations, the formula for education was incredibly straightforward. You sat in rows of identical desks, listened to the teacher, practiced a specific set of steps, and then reproduced those exact steps on exam day. Eventually, an entire industry was built around this concept. Test preparation centers figured out that if a student drills enough variations of a strange math question for hundreds of hours, they will never be surprised by a new question on a test. But that entire ecosystem assumed that generating the answer was the hard part. Now, a student can drop almost any known problem into ChatGPT, and in seconds, the machine generates a flawless solution. Because computers can execute the doing phase of a task instantly, the ability to rapidly recall facts or follow a repetitive formula has lost its real-world economic value. The role of a person in this environment has completely shifted. If you want to build or achieve anything today, your job is no longer to do the homework. Your job is to grade the homework. When education focuses entirely on matching a student to a pre-existing answer key, the primary skill being practiced is recognition, not creation. If a student is trained only to find a path they have walked before, they effectively lose the habit of looking for a path that doesn't exist yet. Arrange 6 matchsticks to form exactly 4 triangles. A repetitively trained mind assumes this exists on flat paper. You slide them flat, build 2 triangles, and get stuck. To solve it, step outside 2-dimensional space, lift the pieces, and build a 3-dimensional pyramid. This type of cognitive leap is exactly what it takes to grade a complex problem. You have to be able to step outside the prescribed rules, look at the evidence from an entirely new angle, and judge whether the reality matches the goal. We can see this abstract concept operating every single day in high-level professional environments. Look at how a top-tier software engineer operates. When an experienced developer is handed a task they have never encountered before, they rarely write the code from scratch based on memory. Instead, they immediately search for similar examples, pulling raw material from Stack Overflow or generating early drafts using artificial intelligence. But they know better than to blindly trust that output or paste it directly into their project. The real labor happens after the text is generated. The programmer uses analytical thinking to troubleshoot the inevitable errors, verify the logic, and correctly assemble those fragments into a working system. This workflow is the exact reality of the modern economy. The professional is no longer doing the assignment from scratch. They are acting as a strict analytical filter, actively grading the machine's work. To build that kind of analytical filter, our approach to education has to pivot. Instead of repeating known facts, students must be forced to confront problems they have never seen before. This is why the curriculums used by elite Math Olympiad competitors are so effective right now. The people writing those tests intentionally design strange, highly specific questions that aren't taught in standard classrooms. The point of handing a student an impossible question isn't to see if they can arrive at the right number. The real goal is to give them a space to practice the raw mechanics of generating an original idea. Wrestling with those unknown variables builds cognitive resilience. It trains a person to keep thinking logically when they are out in the real world, where there are no answer keys hidden in the back of the book. We are now operating under a very clear division of labor. Moving forward, if a task is repetitive, predictable, or formulaic, it should be handed off to a machine or a calculator. The human requirement in that partnership is strict oversight. We are here to control those systems, analyze their outputs, and verify that they are actually telling the truth. The final goal of any learning process isn't to keep a student enrolled in classes for the rest of their life. It's to get them to the point where they don't need a teacher, because they are entirely capable of building their own solutions. Moving past the memorization of old answers allows you to stop being a consumer of existing solutions. When you can evaluate and grade the information in front of you, you possess the tools to navigate a world where the answer key hasn't been written yet.